Here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for, the top 10 Blink-182 songs, the best they have to offer. A lot of the greatest hits here, the fan favorites, and my personal favorite as well. I re-listened to them several times, make sure I have the order absolutely correct, and I believe I do. So let's see what we got. Here we go.
10. Story of a Lonely Guy. I consider this one of the best songs on Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Sure, it's whiny and depressing, but it contains very excellent songwriting and provides a melancholy sound that perfectly fits the words. All the lyrics and the verses are exceptional. For example, push it out, fake a smile, avert disaster, just in time. It's such a great way to start the song, since it sounds like a shy guy attempting to push out confidence, smile, but end up quitting because of fear of rejection. So it superbly describes the narrator and its theme in one line. It's dumb to ask. It's a waste of time pursuing girls. Cool to ignore. I suppose it is, but it gets you nowhere. It's an interesting you're damned either way scenario, a paradox of sorts. Girls possess me, but they're never mine.
Classic friendzone Johnny in this line.
The chorus isn't brilliant, but there's some nice similes, and Mark's harmonies are fantastic. Too bad they're so hard to hear. The second verse has some great alliteration, and I love the comparison to the concept of reading a book, where you find out the ending sucks to his miserable love life. It's an interesting poetic idea and one of the most bleak concepts they've created. Aside from the lyrics, music is just so consistent and effective at establishing the somber mood. Also, the bass in the intro is the main riff from Life's So Boring, so it's nice to see a part of that song used for a higher purpose. The song's pessimistic and a tad emo, but because it's so well crafted beyond that of many of their greatest hits, that it's more than forgiven. 9. Dammit. A real fan favorite, usually considered one of, if not their best, but after much consideration, I found several songs that are superior to it. It's got some clever Bitter X lyrics, I'll give it that. I dare to say, the season is calling, your pictures are falling down, is wonderfully poetic. Mark's vocals sound really grated and raspy as if he had a sore throat, which unintentionally gives a punk sound to it. This gives the pop-punk style one step forward from combining the pop lyrics to a punk voice. There's some impressive work from Scott on drums, and it's kind of an accomplishment that this is one of the most difficult songs in Rock Band or Guitar Hero on drums. Tom's guitar is average here, the song uses 4 chords and the riff is alright. Even though Blink-182 certainly proved themselves in defining the genre, it still feels like this was heavily inspired by Green Day's Dookie. The interlude is also pointless, basic, and unnecessary. However, after listening to their catalog and doing this ranking, I've come to realize that interludes are not their strongest point. So I can't really count that as much of a flaw since the rest of the song holds up. I can at least appreciate the impact the song had. Without it, they might never have made it big. Overall, it's the highlight of Dude Ranch and stands out as one of the most memorable, influential, and enjoyable pop-punk rock classics of all time. 8. Carousel. In my opinion, it's the best pre-Enema greatest hit, a worthy accomplishment. The song works on several strong levels. The bass is one of Mark's best works, and the conjunction of the guitar and its rubbery tone mesh up perfectly. The song was just meant to be played live, and I'm surprised, but through the chorus, they still did until the end of Tom's run. Tom's mini solo and the regular one are quite good, and it creates so much enthusiasm. Carousel also has a great message. I think all high school seniors should be required to listen to it. There's nothing like appreciating about how easy and carefree your life is from a broke loser. I wonder why there's that central carousel image though. Maybe because it's an amusement park ride that reflects an ideal, safe, and repetitive scenario, and that's what the narrator is trying to express. How easy things are for you until you enter the roller coasters of the real world. Oh well, it's still a great classic. Even without much radio play and credit, it's an original masterpiece. One of their most prime examples of everything they did right in creating music. 7. I Miss You. More than likely it's Blink-182's second most well-known and popular song, and it's pretty damn good. The song does a great job at establishing its dark and melancholy mood. The low tune, deep instruments, and a droll repetitive beat combine well to create this effect. Mark's deep voice really works well in this song, and his lyrics are superb, especially A Nightmare Before Christmas Illusions. I will also say that Christmas and Wish This is the best rhyme in their entire discography. And then Tom comes in the second half, and it's interesting. I've read people complaining that Tom's vocals ruin the song, and I'll agree to an extent that they were at least maybe a little out of place, but I don't think they truly destroy it. Actually, it adds an emotional side to the song. Compared to Mark's tone, which sounds like he's dead and defeated, the passion he uses conjures up some dark images he describes, like the spiders eating insides. Then there's the main and memorable line that goes, "Don't waste your time on me, you're already the voice inside my head." I don't know what a yet is, but I have to at least acknowledge what a unique and original accent and vocal pronunciation he has. The lines are fantastic, because they're such a great contradiction. He doesn't want her to waste her time on him, to have no part of him, yet the "miss you" that repeats still suggests he does. It is interesting having those two vocal patterns contrast each other. This is a great broody song about losing someone, or maybe distracting yourself from their memory. It's got some flaws, but definitely deserves its popularity. 6. Feeling This. The great rock song of Blink. I can see why this song had become their live opener, mainly because it's so damn catchy and has so much energy. This song reflects the perfect unity of Mark and Tom's vocals and styles and their different takes on the vague subject of love, which is really fascinating. The Fate Fell Short bits are the highlights of the song, and I love how in the final minute there's just a little bit added to it at a time, that by the final line that threefold vocal harmony is mind-blowing. It was a real fun summer song back in 2003, even though it was actually about losing love because Fate fell short apparently. The instruments are nothing special except the bass, which is way too low for the important parts, and he doesn't even play the original part live. The chorus uses the most famous 4 chords in music, but while it will be nice to have more original interesting instrument sounds, it doesn't hurt it too much because you're mainly focused on the vocals when you're listening to this one. That last minute or so of the song is one of their greatest contributions to music, and it reflects that even though they don't have the best voices or skills in their instruments, they still had style, passion, and originality, and those factors combine to make an extremely meaningful and beautiful song for their fans. 5. Everytime I Look for You. I think it's interesting that a lot of the other songs on Take Off Your Pants and Jacket are much superior to the greatest hits. This one is no exception and easily surpasses First Date, Rock Show, and Stay Together for the Kids in all categories I can think of. The lyrics are phenomenal, especially the interlude and chorus. The intro is a bit confusing and nonsensical because it jumps too quickly into a story about this person that only seems slightly connected to the rest of the song. Luckily, the other verses make up for it. For example, "Betray my short attention span, the distance" is charmingly clever. It also has the best and most complex rhyming pattern of any song. Contention, intention, intervention, attention. Excellent. The interlude really shows some regret and proposes a reason why maybe this girl is never around when he needs them. It's an excellent transition that leads to that powerful final chorus. Unfortunately, the instruments don't quite match the quality of the lyrics, although they are still good to say the least. The guitar overuses that B chord and isn't much beyond typical chord progression. The interlude isn't top-notch, but it is refreshing to hear an acoustic guitar. The notes during the pre-verse are nice sounding, and the combined effects are also a saving grace. The bass and drums are superior to many songs, but there are also a few that outclass them. Every Time I Look for You represents some of their best lyrics and is one of their best contributions to the pop-punk genre. I can't recommend it enough. This song, Roller Coaster, and Story of a Lonely Guy are arguably the true power trilogy from Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. 4. Always. Always is without a doubt my favorite Blink-182 song, so it's difficult for me not to place it at the number 1 spot. The song's premise seems simple enough. It's about a dying relationship, but there's no doubt that it's crafted well and does a great job whining about a girl without being too horribly pathetic. I was surprised that this song made the greatest hits. Thinking in terms of radio friendliness and popularity, it's not really the same level of catchiness as All the Small Things or First Date. Personally, I love it, but I don't understand why they thought it had a mass appeal, which was explained by its relatively poor charting and mediocre video plays, which had to have been slightly boosted by a unique and clever video. Aside from a lack of mainstream recognition, it is at least a semi-fan favorite. But anyway, onto the song itself. The verses reflect the moping over what's lost. The pre-chorus represents the willingness to work through the problem, and the chorus describes the desire to maintain this relationship through holding, tasting, kissing, etc. The verse has the most interesting internal rhyme structure of any Blink-182 song, like shake and take, before and aware, miss, admit, sick, and this. It's a brilliant and probably overlooked series of near rhymes. The chorus is also clever. Mark's vocals overlap the you every time, even when Tom says all night, so if you listen closely, it sounds like Mark is saying all you, which further reflects the importance this woman has on his life. The biggest flaw the song has is they practically muted Mark's harmonies, which sounded so phenomenal in the original. However, you can still enjoy them if you look up the acapella version or the Blink-182 recording of Always and Asthenia video, but it's such a disappointment that they weren't included in the master version where they could have been audible. The instruments are all amazing. The bass starts off with a very tranquil sound, and the overlapping synth that accompanies it creates a great combination and crescendo. The guitar, or guitars, because I believe there's at least 4 used, makes some great and unique sounds, and personal feelings aside, the riff after the first chorus is my all-time favorite. The chords during the chorus are hard to hear, and the solo and interlude notes are a little boring, but there's more to make up for it in this song. I also like the drums in this one, possibly because the beat has become ingrained in my mind from the 10,000 or so times I've listened to it. I mentioned before that the synthesizer is cool, but it would have been better if there was more of it and it was louder. So that again brings me to the biggest problem of this song, poor audio mixing. I'm also forever baffled on whether or not the notes played during the second verse are on bass or guitar. I'm pretty sure it's bass, but there's a lot of evidence dividing it. Overall, it's an underappreciated classic off the already crowded with hits self-titled, and definitely deserves more credit for being one of Blink-182's most creative, passionate, and brilliant songs.
Yeah, sorry about not being able to finish the list with this video, but I gotta keep the suspense going. Actually, the thoughts I have the next 3 are about twice as long as usual, so I make sure I have plenty of time to discuss them. Try to figure out what the remaining 3 are and rank them if you see accordingly. Let me know what you think number 1 should be. In the meantime, I'll try the video out as soon as possible, so like it up, subscribe it up. See you then for the final installment.